Hi, my name is AD Roberts from In War and Peace, and this is the first look at a new product from Miniart, the Junkers F13 mid-production. The Junkers F13 is the world's first all-metal transport aircraft, designed and produced by German aircraft manufacturer Junkers. Produced shortly after the end of the First World War, it was a cantilever wing monoplane with enclosed accommodation for 4 passengers and a 2-seat open cockpit. Like all Junkers duralumin structured designs, from 1918 J7 to the 1932 Ju-46, some 35 models. It has an aluminium alloy duralumin structure entirely covered with Junkers' characteristic corrugated and stressed duralumin. Internally, the wing was built up on 9 circular cross-section duralumin spars with transverse bracing. All control surfaces were horn balanced. A total of 322 aircraft were manufactured, a considerably large number for a commercial airliner of the era, and were operated all over the world. It accounted for over a third of air traffic in the early 1920s. It remained in production for 13 years and in commercial service for more than 30. There were many versions, including float planes for water landing, skis, mailplane and different engines. Several survive in various states of repair in museums, and a replica of the type was put back into production in 2010, taking flight once again nearly a century after the first type flew. What would become of the F13 originated in the work of Professor Hugo Junkers and his research institute in Dessau, Germany. Throughout the 1910s, these efforts were responsible for producing multiple new ideas pertaining not only to the aerodynamics but also the employment and working of light metal construction in aviation. The F-13 was a very advanced aircraft when built, an aerodynamically clean all-metal low-wing cantilever monoplane. It was the world's first all-metal passenger aircraft and Junkers' first commercial aircraft. Designation letter F stood for Flugzeug, or aircraft. It was the first Junkers aeroplane to use this system. Earlier Junkers notation labelled it J-13. Russian-built aircraft used the designation Ju-13. The first F-13 flew on the 25th of June 1919, powered by a 127 kilowatt 170 HP Mercedes D3A inline upright water-cooled engine. The first production machines had a wing of a greater span and area and was furnished with the more powerful 140 watt kW BMW 3A upright inline water-cooled engine. Many variants were built using Mercedes, BMW, Junkers and Armstrong Siddeley Puma liquid-cooled inline engines, and Gnome Room, Jupiter and Pratt & Whitney Hornet air-cooled radial engines. The variants were mostly distinguished by a 2-letter code, the first signifying the airframe, the second the engine. Junkers L5 engine variants had the second letter E, so type F was the long fuselage airframe with the L5 engine. The F-13 was the basis for developing the Junkers W-33 and the Junkers W-34. The design of Junkers F13 with its all-metal body, transport aircraft, its construction and several of its design features, such as its cantilever wing, were particularly noteworthy for the era. Unlike traditional wings of the era, which had to use external struts and guide wires out of necessity, the wing of the F-13 lacked any stay wires. This elimination meant that a major source of drag was entirely avoided. Instead of exposing the supporting elements of the external air currents, all of the bracing was located within the wing itself, thus providing a neater solution from an aerodynamic perspective. As a consequence of this arrangement, the profile of the wing had to be considerably thicker. To accommodate these supporting members, while orthodox attitudes of the era favoured thin profiles, the aerodynamic qualities of the F-13 was quite favourable, largely because of the diligent experimentation. Another advantage was that while the polar curve for the thin profile wings typically had a relatively restricted range of application, such as for high speed flight or rapid rate of climb, the polar curve thicker profile wings could perform more adequately across both circumstances. In terms of its material composition, the F-13 had intentionally discarded traditional materials such as wood and fabric in favour of an all-metal approach that had been pioneered by Junkers. This switch eliminated concerns over variable quality of available wood and the procurement difficulties in obtaining high quality wood that would be well suited for aeronautical purposes. It also dispensed with various other concerns, as it was perceived as more difficult to maintain the calibrated dimensions of wood due to warping. The same factor also hindered interchangeability. Metal posed less of a fire hazard as well. Unlike Junkers' early metal aircraft, which was composed of steel and thus quite heavy, the F-13, with its duralumin lightweight alloy that would find widespread use in aeronautical circles, this metal has greater uniform strength to the aircraft, which made it easy to design. Greater ease of calculation increased the economics of this choice as well, somewhat offsetting the difficulties of developing a new arrangement to permit the installation of all supporting framework internally. The use of metal enabled a substantial number of new construction features to be adopted. Although the specific gravity of duralumin is greater than that of wood, the weight of the Junkers F-13 was beneath that of all other airplanes, wood or metal, of the same class, as a result of thorough aerodynamic studies conducted by the company. Furthermore, it was also felt that the metal approach would increase structural safety and serviceability in comparison to its wooden contemporaries. The F-15's all-metal approach was slower to fatigue, it was less expensive to protect against humidity and most other atmospheric conditions. Termites were unable to damage the metal aircraft. It was particularly for this reason that the use of the F-13 in various tropical countries, particularly those in South America, quickly became commonplace. In general, the life of a metal aircraft was believed to be far greater than that of any wooden one. One of the first things that really caught my eye was the artwork. Now, I don't know about you, but when it comes to something to sell a product, you look at this one and you think, well, I'm sold. He has captured every single part of this aircraft and made this artwork, which just really does stand out. 10 out of 10 for me. Upon opening the box, you will find 10 medium grey sprues which contain all of the parts to the aircraft. There is also a photo etch metal sheet, clear parts and obviously the instructions and a decal sheet. Starting with the wings, these come on one sprue with an upper and lower surface, but the real business end is on the main wings, where you can actually see the corrugation, which is absolutely spot on in my humble opinion. I would actually go to say that this is quite possibly the best corrugation I've ever seen on a 1/48 scale aircraft. The Junkers F13 was designed in 1919. If you look at the internal parts of the wings, the duralumin spars, it was way ahead of itself. Absolutely miles. It had its maiden flight in June of 1919, entered official service in 1920, and was in service until 1932. Designed by Hugo Junkers, this aircraft literally was one of the, if not the best, first ever civil aviation plane. The internal parts of this plane you build in sections, so it's almost like going down to a factory and watching them putting a plane together. It's incredible work. The stressed corrugation is also evident on the top of the cockpit and all the way down the top of the back of the plane, as you can see here, and it's just outstanding. On the same sprue as the aircraft top of the hull, you have what is part of the interior, which hopefully you'll be able to see the detail on here, because again it's outstanding work on such a sort of medium scale aircraft. So this next pictures show you the outside of the cabin compartment, and you can see that there's the good detail of ribbing and everything there. That follows on to the interior part of that cabin, and again your ribbing, your framework, it's all visible and it's extremely good detail. And the last one is of the underside of the cabin and cockpit. I can't wait to see if we get some more of these, but in particular a Ju-52. That would be awesome. So this piece here is the structural part of the wing that sits inside the wing and goes through the duralumin spars. There is a comprehensive engine, quite a few different parts of that to build, and when finished, and if you left the cowling open, I think that would look absolutely superb. So in these pictures you've got what makes up the engine cowling, one where the actual exhaust goes into, and then you have some really good detail of the radiator and the housing cover. The landing gear is based upon a K-shaped axle which has a pair of V-shaped supports glued near the ends, finishing the assembly with a two-part wheels or using two-part tyres with photo etch spokes spaced apart by a hollow bearing in the centre. At the rear, the elevator is made from an upper and lower halves, the upper half having the entire flying surfaces moulded in to achieve a slim trailing edge, mounting it on open rear of the fuselage behind the roof panel. The new straight tapered tail fin is slotted into the top of the elevator with the rudder moulded in. So moving on to the photo etch set, which is quite a decent size set and gives you a lot more possibilities for different things. And as for the actual clear glass, well, pleased to report there's no distortion at all. It's really clear and it's very crisp. So last up we have the instruction booklet, which as you can see from the front page gives clear pictures. We then got the one that tells you what's on the sprues, and I put in an extra one which is the detail on the engine, because I think it is very impressive and shows you just how full an engine it is. And then we have the start of the artwork. So first option is Delta 230 Wiederhof Deutsche Lufthansa AG 1920s. Next option is Charlie Hotel 91 Ad Astra Aero Switzerland early 1920s, and I think the red and on the black wings really do contrast. Yeah, definitely like that one. Final option is Papa Pold Daniel PLL Aerolot Poland early 1920s. And now it's time for final thoughts on Miniart's Junkers F13. Although this might not have been a kit that I would have gone looking for, but since seeing it, I mean, straight away the artwork was sensational, and I'm a great believer in something on that box that makes it sell, and it would have done for me. But then getting the kit out, going through all the different sprues, the different parts, the instructions, everything, I really do recommend it. It's a fantastic kit. The detail is second to none. Definitely the best I've ever seen on corrugation in this scale. Yeah, I think you will enjoy it, whether you're a lover of military or aviation. I'm AD Roberts from In War and Peace, and you have been watching a inbox review, first look and final thoughts of the kit. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really hope that you press subscribe and like, and I look forward to doing many more videos. Until then, stay safe, much magic, and happy modelling. And then finally, don't forget to tell your friends all about us. If they're into modelling, into history, this is a place to be. And I'll see you in the next one.